Hey everyone, how you doing? It's Craig Campbell from Pastor Craig's Vintage Cards, and welcome to part number 15 of my NFL hybrid set. Every player that had a card between 1970 and 73 is in here. If you had a card issued each year, 70, 71, 72, 73, you've got one card. If you only had one card issued, you've got one card. So anybody that had a card issued between 70 and 73 is in this set. And the majority of these cards are from my childhood collection, and otherwise some of them I picked up along the way to complete the set. This page here, there's a lot of interesting fellas on this page. I'm really looking forward to this one. And it may take a little bit longer because there's some really, really good stories in here. And we'll get started here. I'm going to let you get a nice look at that 1971 card of Dave Costa with the Broncos. And I sure do like those 71 cards. They are really nice. You zoom in a little bit more so you can see a little bit better. All right, Dave Costa, 1971. This is his last card that was issued. His rookie card was a 1964 Topps. Then he had cards between 65 and 67, 69, then of course this last 71. He was drafted with pick number 49 in the 1963 draft by the Raiders. He played with the Raiders from 63 to 65, then with the Bills in 66, the Broncos 67 to 71, the Chargers 72 to 73. He was a four-time AFL All-Star, to include 1963 when he was a rookie. And when he was with the Broncos in 67 to 69, those were his 4 years as an AFL All-Star. And Dave played in 168 games. He started 141. That's a nice long career. He ended up with 13 fumble recoveries, and he did record one safety. Paul Costa, over here, the 1970. This is his last card. His rookie card is a 1968 Topps, and he was drafted out of Notre Dame by the Chiefs in 1964 with the 106th pick. That was in the 14th round. He was traded to the Bills and became a starting tight end his first 2 seasons in the AFL. Then he became an offensive tackle in 1969 and played through the season of 1972. He went on to get his master's degree and a PhD from California School of Theology. Amen, brother. I didn't get a PhD, I just got my master's in divinity. But he got a master's and a PhD, and he went on to become a minister and a speaker. He's one of my favorite guys now. And he died October of 2015. Paul, thank you. Thank you as a minister, spreading the word of God. It's a special calling. And then to be a football player, I bet he had some great, great stories. This guy over here, Charlie Cowan. Charlie Cowan. For any of my Rams fans out there, you're going to remember that name. This is his rookie card. He had cards issued in 74 to 75. Again, this is what's so interesting about these football cards. Charlie was drafted in 1961. That's right, 61. And his rookie card is a 1973. He was a 12-year veteran when he got his first football card. He was drafted out of New Mexico Highlands by the Rams with the 45th pick. He played with the Rams from 61 to 75. He was a 3-time Pro Bowl selection. 2-time he was second team All-Pro. He made the playoffs 5 times with the Rams. And he did play in the NFC Championship game 2 times. Unfortunately for the Rams, they lost both of those games. When he retired after the 1975 season, he had played the most games ever as a Ram. And now, only Merlin Olsen and Jackie Slater have played in more games than Charlie played in. He suited up in 206 NFL games. Wow. Starting 192, he had 7 fumble recoveries in his career. Charlie, that's pretty impressive to play in that many games. All right. Anybody remember Al Cowlings? Al, this is his rookie card, his 1973. And he had a card issued in 74. Al was drafted with the 5th overall pick by the Buffalo Bills out of USC. If you remember Al Cowlings, you might be connecting some dots here. Buffalo Bills, USC. Al played for the Bills from 70 to 72. Then the Oilers, 72 to 74. The Rams in 75. The Seahawks in 76. The Rams again in 77. The CFL in 78. And the 49ers in 79. He played for a lot of plays. Bills, Oilers, Rams, Seahawks, Rams, CFL, 49ers. He retired after the 1979 season. He played in 101 games, starting 63. After the 1974 season, though, Al did not start any more games, so he was strictly a reserve after the 74 season. All right, Al is most famous for being the driver in the low-speed chase in the white Bronco with O.J. Simpson after the Nicole Brown murder. Al Cowling had the white Bronco that was on the low-speed chase with O.J. Simpson. And Al had a decent football career, but let's face it, he is more remembered for being the driver of that white Bronco. This guy here, Freddie Cox, bad hair day Fred. You can see he's got a bad hair day. He looks like I do when I wake up in the morning. Anyways, Fred Cox, he was a great kicker. His rookie card is a 1964 Philadelphia. He had cards issued from 64 to 77. He was drafted number 110 in 1961 by the Browns, but first played in the NFL with the Vikings in 1963. Fred is the all-time leader for the Vikings in points with 1365. He had 282 field goals. He is one of only 4 players to play in all 4 of the Vikings Super Bowl appearances. They all resulted in losses. Fred led the league in scoring in 1969 and 1970, and at the time of his retirement, he was the second leading scorer in the NFL, trailing only George Blanda. All right, now, this here is what's really interesting about Fred. I'd be willing to bet everybody listening to this video has been impacted by Fred Cox and his invention. Here we go. In 1972, Fred Cox invented a soft football, which later became the Nerf football. He sold the idea to Parker Brothers in 1973, then to Hasbro in 1991, bringing decades of generous royalties. Again, I'm willing to bet every single person listening to this has played with a Nerf football at one time or another, or a Nerf toy. Either you've done it, your kids have done it, maybe even your grandkids. I don't know how old you are. Fred Cox, the inventor of the Nerf. And I like how it says it's brought decades of generous royalties. I'm sure that Fred Cox has received many generous royalties due to his invention of the Nerf football. Eric Crabtree with the Bengals, his last card. His rookie card's in 1968, and he had cards issued in 69, and then this 1970. He was the 112th pick in the AFL draft by the Broncos. His rookie year, he had 1 reception. Kind of a bad way to start your career, I guess, 1 reception. The second year, though, he had 46 catches with 7 touchdowns. This is important now. We already talked about this once before. But Eric Crabtree caught the first pass from Marlon Briscoe. Marlon was the first black quarterback. Eric would go on to the Broncos, and he received much. They said they received so much hate mail and death threats that were sent to Marlon Briscoe. He actually intercepted the mail so that Marlon Briscoe would not get it. He would go to the Broncos headquarters and go through the mail. He would go through the mail and save all of the bad hate mail from Marlon Briscoe because he did not want Marlon to be demoralized and to be upset. And Eric did not tell him about this, they said, until decades later. So Eric intercepted all those hate letters that were intended for Marlon, and he didn't tell it to him for decades later. 1969, Eric got traded to the Bengals. He played for 2 legendary coaches there, Paul Brown and Bill Walsh. 1969 was his best year, but his numbers fell off in 1970, and he got released after the 1971 season. After 7 games, was picked up by the Patriots for the final 6 games of his career. It says here Crabtree suffered from severe depression after retirement. and was part of a class action lawsuit against the NFL for head trauma. And Eric Crabtree, just a really important guy in football. And I'm thankful that he's intercepted all that mail that Marlon Briscoe didn't have to see it. There we go. Larry Csonka. I told you this page was going to be good. Larry Csonka. Football Hall of Famer in 1987. His rookie card is in 1969. He had cards from 69 to 74 and 76 to 80. Larry was drafted with the number 8 pick by the Dolphins in 68. He played with the Dolphins from 68 to 74. He suffered a concussion in the 5th game and actually had to spend 2 days in the hospital. Then again, 3 weeks later, he suffered another concussion. He ruptured an eardrum and had a broken nose, ending his rookie career. 2 concussions, broken eardrum, broken nose. Not a good way to start your rookie year. Don Shula becomes the coach of the Dolphins. He taught Larry how to be a running back. That's what it said. He taught him how to be a running back, and he led the Dolphins in rushings for the next 5 seasons. He did not miss any more games for 4 seasons. Larry's toughness made him one of the hardest running backs to bring down. He rarely fumbled, he rarely dropped a pass, and he was an excellent, excellent blocker. And I'll tell you what, I remember Larry Csonka with the Dolphins in those early days of 72, 3-4. He was a tough, tough runner. I mean, he was one of those guys that just pulverized people. He led the Dolphins in rushing, and they went to 3 straight Super Bowls, winning the last 2. Larry was the MVP of Super Bowl 8. He had 2 touchdowns, 145 yards on 22 carries. And then it was kind of a weird thing. The World Football League, WFL, came around, and Larry signed with the WFL. He played 1 year, and then the league folded. And then he signed with the Giants in 1976. He tore his knee ligaments, ended that season after 12 games. And then after 2 years, Larry returned to Miami. He finished up with 800 yards and 12 touchdowns. He was named the NFL Comeback Player of the Year in 1979. Larry ended up rushing for over 8,000 yards with 64 touchdowns. He also caught 106 passes for 4 TDs. He played in 146 games, starting 141 games. Larry was inducted into the Football Hall of Fame in 1987. And I'm telling you right now, Larry Csonka was a tough, tough player. And he had a great career. And who knows if he never would have went to the WFL or never would have went to the Giants, what his career could have been. This guy here, Curley, Culp, man, this is an interesting story. That's his rookie card. And he had cards issued from 74 to 78. Curley was the youngest of 13 children. That's a big family. The youngest of 13 children, having a twin sister. So Curley and his twin sister brought up the rear end of 11 children in the family. Those 2 made 13. He grew up in Arizona. He was a 2-time heavyweight wrestling champion in high school. And as a wrestler at Arizona State, he had an 84 wins, 11 losses, 1 tie record. He was a 1967 NCAA heavyweight champion, and he has the distinction of having amassed the most pins in NCAA wrestling history. That's pretty amazing. In 67, Curley was also an All-American football player at nose guard for the Arizona State. He was drafted by the Broncos in 68 with the 31st pick, but Denver thought he was too small. They traded him to the Chiefs. He goes to the Chiefs, 7 years, plays in 82 games, and he's a Super Bowl 4. Curley dominated the Minnesota Vikings offensive line. He dominated them. They had to double team him, which freed up people like Buck Buchanan and Jim Lynch to absolutely stymie the Minnesota Vikings ground game. Curley Culp then got traded to the Oilers, where he excelled in the 3-4 defense. They were one of the very first teams to run a 3-4 defense. Curley Culp was the catalyst of that 3-4 defense because he was unblockable. How unblockable was he? In 1975, he was named NFL Defensive Player of the Year. That's how unblockable. A nose guard, Defensive Player of the Year. Not a defensive back, not a linebacker, not a defensive end, but a nose guard. 6-time Pro Bowler, 4-time second team All-Pro. But the injuries as a nose guard started to get to him, and he retired after the 1981 season. Curley Culp was known as one of the strongest NFL players of his time. He was inducted in the Hall of Fame in 2013. Very deserving. Suited 179 games and started 156. Curley Culp. He was one bad hombre. I can remember they would double, triple team him. He wasn't moving. He was short, powerful. Dick Cunningham. His rookie card. His only card. He was drafted by the Bills out of Arkansas in 1966 with the 36th pick. He played for the Bills from 67 to 72. Then with the Eagles in 73, the Oilers in 73, and finished up with the Lions in 74. He did not play at all in 1970 as he'd been hurt, and he only played one game in 1974. He suited up in 66 games, starting 29. And in 1968, Dick started all 14 games that year. He had 2 fumble recoveries for his career. So yeah, this is an interesting page. You got Hall of Fame Larry Csonka, Hall of Fame Curley Culp, Al Cowling, the infamous Bronco chase, Fred Cox, the inventor of the Nerf, Eric Crabtree, protected Marlon Briscoe, Charlie Cowan, 61 to 75 with the Rams. I mean, this is a nice page. Nice page. I had fun reading about these guys and getting the stories put together, as a matter of fact. You can see this is a really long one, so I'm going to shut up and let you guys get going. Again, leave comments. I really appreciate it, and I'm having such a good time doing this. Guys, enjoy the hobby. There's so many ways to enjoy the hobby. You can define how you want to do it. I enjoy this hybrid set. It's a blast. Take care, everyone.